welcome to another Tuesday evening here on our YouTube channel regarding the wisdom of Kabbalah. If you're interested in the wisdom of Kabbalah, tag along. We have a few semesters of archived lessons here, which you're more than welcome to watch. And if you're interested, if you feel like you want to study more, you can always go to Kabbalah.info and join the KABU Academy with like-minded people from all around the world. In the interim, however, we're going to continue with the topic that we started last week, and that is called Overcoming the Burdening of the Heart. We're going to continue from item number 4 from Rabash, and we'll spend a good 30 minutes trying to go over what we can. So this is from Rabash, article number 13. Come on to Pharaoh number 2. Why has the Creator hardened man's heart, and he cannot win the war against the inclination by himself? The answer is, so man will cry out to the Creator, and by that will have the Kli. All right, a Kli, as you know, is a desire, is a vessel. Let's read that again. It's nice and short. Why has the Creator hardened man's heart, and he cannot win the war against the inclination by himself? The answer is, so man will cry out to the Creator, and by that will have the Kli. Now, as you know, in order to build a connection with the Creator, we have to have some kind of a point of contact, kind of like kids having contact with their parents. And how do we build a connection with our kids? By give and take. All right, so they're constantly wanting something, they constantly need things, and what we do is we give it to them. And that way, what we're doing is building this relationship between us. So in order to build a relationship with the Creator, we're like that little kid who's building a relationship with their parents through this give and take. And accordingly, the same thing has to be done with us. Now, we humans, with our ego, we like to do everything by ourselves, and including spirituality as well. However, though, we cannot change our own nature. Despite the fact that we can do a bunch of things on this world, go to the moon, maybe go to Mars soon as well, that is completely irrelevant with respect to attaining a whole new elevated level of perception. For that, we need to change our nature completely from our current state of reception into another state called bestowal, which is actually how the whole of nature works. And because we're in such a conflict with nature, we're going through all kinds of problems and dramas in life. And accordingly, this is why we're feeling heavy also when we start study the wisdom of Kabbalah. Right, so the more we study, the more we'll find that our egoism is increasing. We're revealing more and more coarseness, which needs to be corrected in order for us to elevate ourselves to a higher state. And that can only happen if the Creator helps us. Why? Because we did not create ourselves. So accordingly, we need that higher force to kind of help us out with this creation. And that's how it pans out. So the more unsuccessful we are, actually, the better it is, because that way we can turn to the Creator more and build that bridge between us. All right, so let's go on to item number 5. This is from Rabash, article number 19. Come on to Pharaoh number 1. One who understands that he needs the Creator to give him a lot of help because he's worse than the rest of the people, is more suitable for his prayer to be answered. As it is written, the Lord is near to the brokenhearted and saves the crushed in spirit. Therefore, one should not say that he is unfit for the Creator to bring him closer, but that the reason is that he is idle in his work. Instead, one should always overcome and not let thoughts of despair enter his mind. As our sages said, even if a sharp sword is placed on his neck, he should not deny himself of mercy. Right, yeah, let's read that again. As usual, going over it twice. One who understands that he needs the Creator to give him a lot of help because he's worse than the rest of the people is more suitable for his prayer to be answered. All right, so what we have to do, basically come to a state where we reveal so much of our egoism, and we understand how bad it is. It's causing harm, not just to everybody else, but we discover that our egoism is causing harm to us. So we're like every day shooting ourselves in the foot. And the more and more we see that, then we understand that we're worse than everybody else. So a good student who's studying the wisdom of Kabbalah should understand that he's worse than everybody else. Okay, everybody else is better than me, and I am the worst person there is. Why is that? Because, well, I can't really reveal what's inside others. I can reveal what's inside me, though. And if I reveal how much evil there is inside of me, then I don't really have anything to talk about with respect to what others have. So the more I work properly, the more distant I should feel from the Creator, the more distant I should feel from the good. As it is written, the Lord is near to the brokenhearted and saves the crushed in spirit. So accordingly, if I'm feeling like I'm in a really bad state, then that's the kind of prayer that the Creator is really looking out for. The Creator doesn't like a half job. So if we have to, or if we want to get to the Creator, we have to do the job properly. And a good job means I have a desire, which includes no other desire. Right? So I have to have one desire for the Creator, and that's it. And that's the whole idea, that there is only the Creator, there is only the desire for the Creator in me. Therefore, one should not say that he's unfit for the Creator to bring him closer. Now, this is really important. A lot of people think or feel or believe, I don't know, that as they study more, they feel worse, and, they just get all helpless, fall into despair, as it says here. Don't fall into despair, but people do fall into despair, and they feel like this is some kind of a mission impossible. However, that's not the case. Precisely when we feel like everything is against us and everything is like a huge mountain, even the smallest thing is going to feel like one big mountain to overcome, then exactly that's the time when you can turn to the Creator, when you can't move your little finger a millimeter. All right, so this kind of stuff is really good to get to. Obviously, this involves a lot of work, which needs to span out for a long period of time. So as we work more and more and more over the years, we should accumulate some kind of a revelation of evil inside of us, which should obviously then break us. And that breaking point is called a prayer. And that's how you can get closer to the Creator. But that the reason is that he's idle in his word. Okay, let's read that again. Therefore, one should not say that he's unfit for the Creator to bring him closer, but that the reason is that he's idle in his work. So if we are not yet close to the Creator, or we don't feel close, we have to understand that there's something missing in our work. So we have to kind of like contemplate those missing bits and pieces. You can only get to the Creator if the job is done. Like I said, it has to be 100% job. So if I'm idle, if I'm, not really fulfilling everything I need to fulfill, then obviously the Creator is not really going to give anybody any answers. It's like a child crying in vain, and it's not really going to get much attention from the parents. So we have to understand that this process or this procedure is for the person who's studying the wisdom of God to really give everything he's got. Instead, one should always overcome and not let thoughts of despair enter his mind. As our sages said, even if a sharp sword is placed on his neck, he should not deny himself of mercy. So no matter what happens, we go through a lot of ups and downs, and it's true. And we should be going through a lot of ups and downs. As you can see, the article doesn't paint a rosy path for us. Okay, it's a big mess. And that's exactly how it's supposed to be. Okay, so from within the chaos, we'll come to find tranquility and peace. And this is how exactly it needs to be. So no matter what happens, I should stick to the path and overcome all the obstacles and not let thoughts of despair enter my mind. Okay, so we have to think about that situation. How can it be, or what kind of a situation, or what kind of a study procedure, or what kind of a work procedure do I need to apply so that I do not let thoughts of despair enter my mind? Okay, so these are question marks we need to kind of like put in our books and say, well, how am I going to work on that? As our sages said in Brachot 10, Even if a sharp sword is placed on his neck, he should not deny himself of mercy. All right, so until the last very moment when everything might feel like complete destruction or complete, I don't know, chaos, death, you name it, one should always trust in the Creator. Okay, and the reason we feel heavy in the work, as we've studied before, is because we have lack of faith. If a person had faith in the Creator, he would never feel heavy. He would always be in the work and he'd be doing just fine. All right. Any questions? You guys let me know. Irina, you got a question.
Yes, hi, Mutlu. For me, it's still like a mystery. Why does it take such a long time to get to the point of a broken heart? Is it amount of desires that you have to sort out, or you depend because you depend on others on it then, or you need something special?
I don't think to attain spirituality, we need anything special. I think we need to take the recommendation of the Kabbalists and do what we're supposed to do. And as we do them more and more, what happens is that, things reveal inside of us with respect to our desires, our intentions and thoughts, all kinds of things. And as we begin to see more and more of them, it just becomes like this, this sewer, kind of like stuck, and it's like all over the place, and it's, spilling all around. And this is kind of necessary, and it takes a long time because humans take the longest time to develop. And the reason we take the longest time to develop is simply because we are more developed. We have a far deeper understanding of everything compared to any animal or plant or anything else. So in order for us to have this huge grasp of reality, even in our lives, a cat grows up in a few months, a calf stands up in a few hours, already starts suckling from his mum. But we humans, you can see, by the time we sort ourselves out, get up on our feet and leave home and start living our own life, it's like we're 25, 30 years old. Okay? So you understand it's a long process, but life is showing us that's just how it is. In order to have a greater attainment of anything, I need to have a longer time period where I have a lot of accumulation of discernments inside.
Maybe because it's effect of the material world. Like say if you get like an isolated society, like I see in New York, like Hasidic people, they have their own environment, they're trying to isolate themselves, they completely immersed into their studies and stuff like that. Would it shorten, if I'm on the Kabbalah path, would it short all this period of from my state to a broken heart state?
Yeah, absolutely. The environment helps. Obviously, we can't work like the religious because that's not going to really reveal the evil in us. But environment is everything. This is why we pay a lot of attention to sticking around with people who want to attain the same goal and work in a guideline, in a framework, according to the wisdom of Kabbalah, where we can constantly integrate with each other. And, and all these frictions between us kind of like, pop up, all right? And they come to the surface and they start floating about, and then we can work with them. But the environment, the right environment, is the fastest way to get through all this stuff. And if we hadn't had this environment to kind of like show us where we're egoists and where we're not doing everything right, and when we're, where we're bad and so on, if we didn't have the environment, it would take us reincarnations. A student of wisdom of Kabbalah who's studying pretty much is like light years ahead of someone who isn't. You can see this on your friends as well. Many of your friends from college or university, you can hook up with them for a cup of coffee. They'll still talk about the same thing they were talking about 20, 30 years ago. They all grew old, but nothing changed. So what makes people change is that environment which is influencing us. It's kind of like showing us all these traits inside of us. And we begin to understand life better. Without the wisdom of Kabbalah, we couldn't understand how human nature works. And this is why everybody has a problem on the outside. See, everybody is running around with problems, conflicts. Nobody's really happy for one very good reason, just one reason. They don't understand human nature. They don't understand the laws of nature that we should be living by in order to have a happy life. And it's a very simple procedure, but you just can't convince your ego to love others. Just doesn't want to go there. So it's a problem. We'll get there eventually. Humanity will go through suffering. As they go through suffering, they'll come to listen. All right, let's move on to item number 6. This is from also Rabash, letter number 28. For each innovation he had revealed to us in the Torah, which brought us elation and great confidence to dedicate our lives only for the sake of the Creator, there promptly came a hardening of the heart. As in, for I have hardened his heart. So we would later be able to make our own choice, as this is called labor without support. His intention was to bring us to the desired wholeness. All right, let's read that again. For each innovation he had revealed to us in the Torah, which brought us elation and great confidence to dedicate our lives only for the sake of the Creator, there promptly came a hardening of the heart. So life has always two sides of the coin, right? There's a plus and a negative. I can't go higher without going through some struggle to renew myself. This is how it is in life as well. Without renewing myself, adding a new quality and reformatting the others that were from prior moments, I cannot elevate myself to a higher state. This is just not going to happen. So when he's talking about Torah, obviously we're talking about the study of the wisdom of Kabbalah and the light that reforms us. Okay, the Creator is changing us as we study. How is he changing us? Well, first of all, he's bringing us to see the truth. Okay, so as we study more and more, we come to see the truth. So you see the influence of the light or the influence of the Creator is on us all the time. And on top of that, as we see the truth, that's when we get confidence. A lot of people think of confidence as a good feeling or a good sensation, but it doesn't need to be a good feeling or a good sensation. Seeing the truth can also be a good elevation or confidence. Despite the fact that I feel bad, understanding the state I'm in and how true that is also a benefit. In most methods, well, in all of the methods out there, everything is focused on giving the human being a good feeling while they live on earth. All right, in the wisdom of Kabbalah, we don't really care about how we feel. We care about truth or lie. Because if I get stuck in what I'm feeling, good or bad, I'm never going to get out of this loop, because our whole life is based on chasing a good feeling. Where am I going to get more fulfillment? In the wisdom of Kabbalah, where we want to get fulfillment is the point of truth. If I'm revealing my true state. And that obviously is a bonus, and that should give us confidence too. There promptly came a hardening of the heart. So whenever I discover something that gives me an elevation, immediately, it says, immediately comes the hardening of the heart. Why? Because the next step is now beginning. So once I complete one degree, I immediately enter the second degree. And the next degree is always a higher level of bestowal. And a higher level of bestowal is always going to be a drama. Simply because I've got more coarseness, more desire to receive. And now I've got to push further and get over it as well. And this is a routine. This is a routine which we must get used to. If we don't get used to the ups and downs, if we don't understand the process we're going through, you will fall off the bandwagon, that's for sure. You will not make it. So understanding why we're going through ups and downs, understanding why we're going through the hardening of the heart, when we're feeling heavy, lack of desire, don't want to move, don't want to do anything, all of these things are really important to realize in the work, because it's required for me to go to the next level. If I don't feel heavy, I can't go to the next level. Heaviness is the beginning of my next level. So this is why I shouldn't be running away every time I feel heavy or lacking desire. All right. And this is why we have a hardening of the heart. It also helps us to turn to the Creator. Right? Otherwise, how can I turn to the Creator if I don't have a hardening of the heart? If I don't cry to Mummy, I'm not going to get that chocolate. So we all have to cry to, the Creator. It's actually the same kind of mentality. But we have to understand what we're crying for. And this is what the Creator wants us to clarify in the study. What do you really want? What do you want to attain? What is the change that you want, and what is it that you cannot do that you want me to do? And for what? So all of these questions need a lot of clarification for a person, because that kind of amounts to the intention of the study. And this is why understanding what our intention is and why we're doing certain things is very, very important, because intention kind of gives us the direction, like, why am I doing what I'm doing? What do I need to attain? What do I want to attain? And initially, of course, it won't be correct, but as we work more and more through the heaviness, we begin to kind of sharpen up the intention. Okay, as the years go by, as the work carries on, we begin to sharpen up exactly what I want and why I want it, and so on. As in, for I have hardened his heart, so we would later be able to make our own choice, as this is called labor without support. All right, so another nice concept here. The heavier I get, okay, the heaviness I feel allows me to make a free choice. Okay, because I can always say, do I want to carry on, or do I want to leave this and go back to my regular daily life? Okay, so it leaves us in a dilemma. On the one hand, we have a hardening of the heart, so it's tough, not a lot of desire, we don't want to go forward, all that kind of stuff. And on the other hand, we have a dot in the heart that kind of, gives us a pinch and says, come on, this is the meaning of our life. What are we going to go back to anyway? Right? So we're left in a dilemma in between these two things. And once we're in a dilemma, it's a good state to be in, because that dilemma allows you to clarify and sharpen your intention. Okay, so you're in a tough state. So you then work on your intention. Why do I want to attain what I want to attain, despite the fact that I'm feeling heavy? And if we weren't feeling heavy, if we were feeling all good and nice, we would not clarify the intention. We'd all be just happy chappies running to the goal. And none of us would even think about it twice, because we feel good. Once you feel good, it's like your brain doesn't function. You're just like on drugs. Okay? When does your brain start to function? When you feel pretty crap. Okay? And you understand you need to solve the problem. So you're under pressure and you need to solve the problem. Then you start going with this flow, right? And if you don't exit the path, you go with the flow, and then you can solve it. You can just push and push and push. And this is why the environment is also very important, because I need some kind of a support mechanism. I need teamwork. I need friends that can motivate me and I can motivate, and we can kind of like bounce off each from other. All right. And this is why having a good 10, a good group where you get support from others is really, really important. And if that doesn't happen, you can forget it. It won't work. All right, his intention was to bring us to the desired wholeness. So as you can see, the Creator wants us to come to wholeness. But how can we know wholeness if we don't know what is broken? Right? If we don't know what is crushed and broken and all bits and pieces and everything is in shambles, if we don't understand the mess, we cannot feel wholeness. So the Creator first has to show us all the broken parts, how broken the situation is, which is really, really good actually, because this allows a person to participate in building something whole with the Creator. And that is the whole point, because then we're with the Creator building this wholeness together. And this is how man and the Creator become partners. And this partnership is what we need to build. Right? As we grow up, just like we have more responsibilities around the house as we grow up, right? The further we grow up, the more responsibilities we have in life. And this is exactly how it happens with us in spirituality as well. The Creator is willing to leave us things so that we can do them, but we need to come to the capacity and the ability to do those things. All right. We'll leave it at number 7, okay, because we only have 2 minutes, and we've got a Zohar reading in 2 minutes with Bnei Baruch. There are no other questions, right? Are there any questions? Okay, yeah, it looks like we are okay, and there are no questions. All right, guys, so we'll carry on next week as usual, and now we'll pop into the Bnei Baruch Arvut system, where we can all join the Arvut reading from 8:30 my time until 9 p.m. And there goes the alarm. All right, have a good evening. All the best.
Thank you.